actually thought that I had Facebook figured out, and I pressed the wrong button, and I was panicking because it was 12:30, but I made it. Welcome in, everybody. If you are new to the Wednesday Lives, a huge welcome to you. And if you are watching the recording on YouTube, which is available a few hours after this live, I hope you like the content, and if you do, please like and subscribe, because that helps me to grow my business and to reach more people. So a little bit of news before we start today. I am so pleased, finally, I can say this with conviction, the course that myself and Jenny Porteous have been working with, or I should say working on, for the last couple of months is finally almost ready. Finally almost ready. Our launch date is June, and Jenny and I have put an enormous amount of work into this. So the course is called Miserable to Marvellous, and it is 10 modules designed to really take you to the next level of healing and of transformation. So if you are ready to be enormously brave, this course, hi Mayern, thank you, welcome. If you are ready to stop thinking about change, stop thinking about growing yourself, and to actually do it now, this is the course for you. It does take, as I said, quite a bit of courage and bravery. It's not easy, but of course, no real worthwhile change is. If this is something that you are interested in, you can head over to my website, soniakillik.com, and have a look at courses where you can learn more about it. All right, so Wednesday, if you're in the southern hemisphere, of which I am, you'll know that winter is fast approaching and I'm freezing cold, but I know I'll warm up as our energy gets going. So welcome again. So I have to tell you, I have been battling to find peace in this moment, and I actually took an extra 10 minutes to breathe and to meditate prior to this session, because I'm really struggling to process this kind of feeling of anxiety that I'm feeling, and I'm feeling that that is what the message for today is. So for whoever is joining today, you're here for a reason. Whoever is watching the recording, I'm sure you came here from the title, and the title for today's talk is Betrayal. What did I say? Betrayal, Bravery, and Forgiveness. And I am feeling quite a bit of that energy. It's quite intense, and there's this feeling of almost franticness, like this desperate need to escape something. So let's look at that. Let's get into that. As I said, if the title of today's talk resonates with you, then please, this is the message that you need to hear. And of course, if you're here live, 100%, this is the place you need to be. Okay. So let me share the messages that came up for me. The very first one is the archetype. Something called me today to look at the archetype cards. Beggar. And I'm going to read this out for you. So the positive attribute of, or the archetype of beggar, is to confront the empowerment at the level of physical survival. Okay. Now, what that means for me is that we have to take ownership of events and circumstances that happen to us. Now, here's where it gets difficult. Because sometimes in our lives, and more often than we would like, those events and circumstances that happen to us were not of our making, not of our choosing, and they don't fit with who we are. So let me explain that. If somebody has treated you very badly, if somebody has betrayed you, okay, and I'm feeling today is very much around relationships. So if you have been betrayed, if you have been lied to, if you have been hurt in whichever manner, it is very difficult to take ownership of that. And I just love the universe. Thank you, universe, because it's something I have personally been working on. And I had quite a strong feeling in the days leading up to this, that this is what we would be working with today. So I'm sorry, I've got a bunch of messages coming through for me. I'm trying to just order them. When we have been betrayed, we become very hurt. And that deep pain that sits within us deeply affects our sense of safety, our confidence, and our belief in other people and in the world and in ourselves. And sometimes we're conscious of this way in which we've adapted to that betrayal, we've adapted to that hurt. Often we're not. Often we are unaware of how we have subtly made ourselves smaller, how we have subtly made ourselves harder, adjusted how we treat others, how we approach relationships, risk, opportunities, etc. And when we have been treated poorly, whether it was a once-off occurrence, which if you're a human being, was not a once-off occurrence, it happened many times in your life to one degree or another, we tend to wait. And we wait for some form of apology or justification. Acknowledgement. We want the other person to acknowledge, yes, I was wrong. Yes, I harmed you. Yes, I created this doubt within you, this sense of betrayal, and I created this sense that the world is not safe, I'm not safe, relationships are not safe, work is not safe, whatever it may be. And while it is unbelievably difficult to, let me take a step back. When we are in that wait moment, when we are waiting for that forgiveness and that apology to come from the person who harmed us, so we want the source of the harm to take our harm away, okay? What has happened there is we have put a little pause button on that aspect of our lives, which bleeds into all part of our lives. And as I said, whether consciously or unconsciously, that has stopped us. It has stopped our ability to be authentic, to be bold, to be brave, to be confident. And the message coming through for me today is that there is a very sore heart, a very, very, very sore heart. And I'm going to share the cards with you. I can't actually remember if this has come up in our readings before, but yeah, I'm going to put that right up there so you can see that right over my face. There we go. So there is a very sore heart that some of you are feeling. And that beggar archetype that came up, it's like you are waiting for somebody else to heal your heart and to take that pain away and to make it better, to heal it. Okay. And let me just show this whole story to you first, and then I'm going to talk you through it. Okay. So we have the broken heart, and we have this incredible light, this incredible joy, this freedom, this truth of who you really are, all right? This truth that has been squashed, that has lost faith, that has lost hope, okay? Stuck in between the broken heart and this betrayal, right? There's a sneaky little ninja hiding in the dark, betrayal. So, what is coming up for me today is that you are pausing, you are limiting, and you are waiting for the opportunity to truly move past. To truly move past a very, very painful event, which is, I'm feeling, relationship-based. And because you are waiting for that healing moment, that healing process to take place via the other person, you aren't able to fully move on. I wrote a whole bunch of stuff here. I just want to make sure I'm covering all of this. So there is a sense that we are begging other people or the perpetrator of the harm that was done to you for the acknowledgement of the event, to be able to forgive the event, to forgive the person, for the ability to heal. So basically we've just, and I need to come back to this, your power your healing, your ability to move forward is stuck in the middle. And it's stuck in the middle because you have literally handed your power to the other person. So, and I'm still feeling this energy so strongly, it's quite a lot. And let me step into and share with you what I've been going through in the last month or so. So for those of you who know me, for those of you who follow me, for those of you who have worked with me, you know that I'm huge on emotional work. We have to heal our emotional bodies, which will then affect our minds and the type of our thoughts and the nature of our thoughts and then our actions and so forth. So I'm very practiced at going into the nitty-gritty and the uncomfortable emotions. I'm extremely practiced at going into the dark, feeling the fear, feeling the anger, feeling whatever it is that needs to be felt so that I can release it, right? And much to my dismay and this horror, I realized that I had not forgiven certain people. I was still holding on to a sense of righteousness, a sense of this poor treatment is continuing. This person is never going to change. So let me take you through my process of betrayal to forgiveness. Something is done to us and we need to now go into a period of survival, right? And at first we go through quite a range of emotions. We're shocked. How can I be treated that way? How can any human being do those kind of things deliberately? Okay, so once we've gone through that kind of shock and feelings of like fear and like I've been attacked, once we've kind of processed that, we then do a couple of things. If you are quite solid and strong and confident in who you are, you will put a stop to it, right? And you go, right, well, that person's never going to change. I'm therefore going to create boundaries. I've drawn a line in the sand. That person is no longer welcome in my life, all right? That's one option. That is the road that I took. It took me a while. I'm not going to lie, it took me a while, but I am there. Another option will be to justify. So we justify the other person's behavior and shame they were having a bad day or shame they're going through problems and whatever the case is, because we don't really want to confront the bigger picture of what is going on. And once we've gone through all of that, we tend to get stuck. And I certainly did. I got stuck. I got stuck in the protection. I was aware that I had to continue protecting myself. I had to enforce those boundaries that I had decided on. But what I wasn't aware of was in the enforcing of my boundaries, I was still rejecting, and this is important, so let me say this quite strongly and please hear me. In the enforcing of my boundaries, I was rejecting the true harm and I was rejecting my ability to forgive and move on. So, how do we forgive? How do we forgive a betrayal of a very deep nature? It's incredibly difficult. And when we forgive, when we choose to forgive, because it does begin with a conscious choice, like it did with me and like it has with so many other people, we have to be brave enough to walk away from any kind of justice. Because that's what we're doing when we forgive. Because you cannot, forgiveness and justice don't go together. Justice is kind of like revenge. Ha ha, you got what was coming to you. You've realized, the error of your ways. You realized how much you harmed me. And now you are suffering, right? You feel so bad. And you have so much remorse. Okay, that's justice. It's not forgiveness. True forgiveness is, as I said, walking away from that need for justice, walking away from the need to be right, the need to be seen, the need to be validated. And we do this because we have chosen to go from this, where am I, to this. We have to let it go. We have to let go of the event, the person, the memories, the hurt. We have to let it go if we are going to truly forgive and be free. So when we do this, when we make this decision to forgive, we are also choosing to take ownership of all of it, which is also a really difficult step, because in a weird way, we're like, well, I want that person to own it. That person was the person who did it. I never asked them to be treated this way. I never asked them to hurt me or betray me. I never gave them a reason to hurt me, right? And so if I take ownership of the way I'm feeling, of my betrayal and my heartache and my pain and where I am right now and how this has affected me, right? How it's affected my current relationships, the current way I see myself, how I'm engaging in life. If I take ownership of that, I don't know, in a weird way, does that make it our fault? Does it take away the accountability from the other person? No. No, it doesn't. Because the other person doesn't matter. Right? What matters is you. What matters is, how do you wake up in the morning? How do you fall asleep at night? How do you feel? Are you living each day with this burden of anxiety and worry and this constant need to manage and justify and adapt, and just this general feeling of unsafety? And the sadness that is being carried. And I'm also getting this feeling of waiting, like in some way you have disempowered yourself. In some way you have believed the betrayal. Because when we hold on to the betrayal, we have to identify with it. So we have to believe that we are everything that was done to us. We have to believe that we are not a great friend, not a great partner, not a great human, that we are worth less than we are, that we were worth being lied to, treated badly, etc. So if we identify with the betrayal, if we hold on to that wound, if we hold on to that event, we will be stuck there. And when I say the other person doesn't matter, they don't. Because even if they said to you, I'm so sorry, it doesn't change anything, because that feeling lives within you. So, sorry, I'm reading some messages here. And if this is resonating with you, or if you are going through this awareness in your life right now, if you have become aware that you have been carrying around a sense of injustice, the need to protect yourself, and if you have been waiting for that moment in time where somebody else comes to you and makes it better. If you are aware that this is going on for you right now, please share your experiences and share how you are stuck, and how it is affecting current day life. And I'm big on current day life, because we have to go back and we have to heal the past, because all of those cellular memories are affecting our health. They're affecting the way our thought patterns are formed. It's affecting everything, right? So we have to go back and heal. But it's such a paradox. At the same time, it doesn't matter, because it is truly in the past and it is untouchable. And the only thing that we can live with today is what we choose to bring with us today. So we can bring with us all of those betrayals and all of that ill treatment. But if we do bring it with us, then we have to be it. We have to continuously be betrayed, be treated badly, and be on guard. Okay, that's the strong message today, is this feeling of, like, do you still want to have that heavy heart? Is it serving you? Is it making you feel that in some way it's almost like a self-punishment, right? If you don't want to feel that way anymore, if you do want to be free, and I know it's a scary step, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes up, right? It's like, and I actually wrote about this in an article last week, how to be good in a bad world. Perhaps you should give that a read. Head over to the article section on my website. But to forgive someone doesn't mean that we are giving them permission to treat us badly. It doesn't mean that we are giving a benediction, giving them permission. What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't mean that we are condoning their past behavior. It doesn't mean any of that. All it means is that you are choosing to free your heart, to free the burden, so that you can move forward and it's not constantly being pulled back by this really heavy feeling. Yeah, I'm feeling that quite strongly today. So it requires, as I said, a decision. That is the first step. I am going to choose to forgive for me. For me. Excuse my language, you know what I mean by now. I don't give a fuck about the other person. They can continue down their path. They can choose to grow. They can choose to heal. They can choose to acknowledge their own behavior. Wish them well. But that choice to forgive is so that you are free. And I know this is starting to sound like a cliche meme and a Hallmark card, but I'm trying to get you to understand this very deep sense of, I choose to let go. I choose to not be defined by past people's treatment of me. I choose to forgive within my own heart so that it can blossom and I can return to my state of purity, right? Where I don't doubt everyone, where I don't mistrust everyone, where I'm not being constantly influenced by this little memory of that betrayal and that heartache and everything else. Like, all of us experience the same human life, and the details are different, but we all experience heartache. And we will all be betrayed at one point or another, and horribly enough, at one point or another, we will probably betray somebody else, intentionally or not. Okay, that is the human experience. But what I'm going to say now, what I'm going to say every single week until the day I die, is that you are so powerful. You are so incredibly powerful, and that light will shine as brightly as you allow it to. And the only thing that is holding it back, the only thing that is holding back your immense strength and confidence and ability to love. And I really want to explain love quickly. Love is not just how we love our partners or our children. Love is this incredible, and I'm feeling it now, this incredible connection and gratitude to the very essence of life, right? It is, I am able to feel love in the most smallest of things, right? For me, I absolutely love trees. So just watching a tree blow in the breeze, like this tiny moment of magic, that's everywhere. And when we can expand ourselves so that we are only love, right? That means there's no room for fear. And when there's no room for fear, that means we are fearless, which means that any vision we have for ourselves, any goal that we have for ourselves, any experience that we want for ourselves is literally there for the taking, because we have this incredible power to create how we feel, what we think, how we interact, and who we do that with, okay? And that's where the bravery and the ownership. All right, that's a big key word for today, is ownership. Because it's very easy to own our awesome bits. It's very easy to own our triumphs and to go, yeah, I'm so awesome in this area, in this area, in this area. And it's really difficult to own not only our painful emotions, experiences, and memories. It's very difficult to take full ownership of our experience. Excuse me. Now, if you need to forgive, your path to freedom is not through the other person. Your path to freedom is taking ownership of what you experienced, because that's living inside of you. So we are not debating whether the other person's behavior was justified or awful or whatever. There is no space for that. We have to own our experience. I feel betrayed. I feel sad. I have carried that for as long as I'm willing to. I have chosen to continue to react in a certain way up until this point. Hi, Lauren. Cool. I'm just going to very quickly read here. All right, I'm going to come back to Lauren's message. I just saw at a glance, it's quite long. And getting back to what I have experienced, and actually last night, full moon in Taurus, I did my little full moon meditation, and I knew that this forgiveness at a much deeper level was calling to me, and I knew I had to tackle it. And believe me, it was a challenge for me, because a part of me didn't want to forgive. A part of me, to be 100% honest with you, still doesn't want to forgive, because I see the acts as unforgivable. So how do you reconcile that? If you have been cheated on, if you have been really badly betrayed, it is an unforgivable act. And that's where we get stuck. And that's where I was stuck, right? And last night, weirdly enough, Lauren, thank you, she shared the no, I'm so pronouncing it wrong. But it is a mantra for forgiveness. And it goes as such. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. So I used that last night in my little forgiveness ceremony. And let me tell you, the resistance in my body was profound. And I had already decided I was going to use that mantra to facilitate this forgiveness ceremony within myself. And even saying those words, I was like, fuck no. Because it starts off with, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And I'm like, no, you need to say I'm sorry and you need to ask for forgiveness, right? So immediately I was up against that resistance. But that is not what forgiveness is. As I said, if we are approaching forgiveness with this need for justice, you say you're sorry, you acknowledge what you did wrong. It's not forgiveness. We're never going to move past that. And I really had to push myself and get to the deeper understanding and connection of what that actually means. And in doing that, I had to take ownership. Not only for the role that I played, right? Because we are all interconnected. And although I never asked for bad treatment, although I never would have wanted the bad treatment, in some way, I was a party to it, either because I was there and I allowed it to continue, or for whatever reason, I have to take ownership. And not only do I have to take ownership for my part in the situation, but I have to take ownership in my experience of it and how I've held on to it. Sorry, I just realized that I've been talking solidly and it's almost time's up. Okay, I'm quickly going to read Lauren's message. Hi, Julie. Yay. Thank you. Welcome. And thank you so much. And then I'd just like to wrap us up with some takeaways for whoever needs this today. All right. So Lauren is sharing, I thought I had forgiven and moved on from a specific and rather big issue in my life. True that, me too. And something I have been working consciously to heal from. And I realize now through recent actions that I never properly let it go. Yes, okay. So Lauren, I'm so glad you said that, and I was kind of alluding to that. So we get to this place, the stage in forgiveness where we have made a resolution. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. We have found acceptance to what is, and we kind of stop there. But we haven't truly forgiven, right? Okay, I understand why it happened and it's fine and I'm not being triggered by it anymore and blah, blah, blah. And that's where we get to. But that true forgiveness, and here is your takeaways for today, is we have to be brave enough to walk away without justice or an apology or an acknowledgement. We have to be brave enough to own our experience and what we have been carrying. And we have to be brave enough to know that it's so fucking cool on the other side, okay? That we can have a free heart, and our awesomeness, our life and our ability to love in all of its definitions is within us, all right? It is within our own allowing to be free from the past. Okay. If this is resonating with you today, and if you know that there is someone from your long ago past or someone quite recent that you need to forgive, start the process. Not for anybody else, but for you. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in today. Welcome to anybody who's new. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. If you would like to share any of your experiences or any advice or guidance or insights that you might have, if you've been through this process, please go ahead and share that in the comments. And have an amazing week. In the southern hemisphere, stay warm, and in the northern hemisphere, enjoy the onset of spring. Thank you, everybody, and have a conscious, brave, and downright awesome week. Thank you, everyone. Bye.